But more importantly, it is now time for our next speaker, who is Liselot Lange, and she researches the black-faced black spider monkey. So yeah, black-faced black spider monkey. Wasn't sure if that was a typo or if that's correct, but Liselot will let me know. And so she's working in Peru with this amazing animal, and I'm going to bring Liselot up into the stream. How you doing? We can't quite hear you. Let me make sure.
No? Maybe now? Okay, yep. Good. Yeah, it's not a typo. It's called the black-faced black spider monkey, or Peruvian black spider monkey as well. Yeah, you're good.
Oh, great. I wasn't sure. I was like, okay, that's right. Sure, it sounds like it.
It's a little bit double, but yeah, it's correct. Okay.
And now, are you in Peru, or are you somewhere else where you're joining us from?
No, I'm in Peru, southeastern Peru, and we just had a really big tropical rainstorm, so I hope you guys don't hear too much rain on the background because it's still going on a little bit. But
having been in one or two of those myself, I know that sound on tin roof.
Yeah.
Calming, and also can get loud.
Well, it's very loud 2 hours ago, so I'm lucky with my timing.
Well, Mother Nature's being nice. She knows that we're here talking about her biodiversity and want to share it with everyone. So she's brought a reprieve into the rain so we can hear you. Now, I have a question. Do you have a presentation that you're bringing up?
Yes. So let me share my screen.
Yep. I want to make sure we get that queued up for you before I leave the...
There we go.
And I see it.
Should work, no?
Yep.
Can you guys see it?
Yep, I'm going to go ahead and add it to the stream. We're both going to be up here for a quick second. So now I will turn it over to you to tell us more about the spider monkeys.
Thank you. Yeah, welcome everyone. I don't know what time it is for all of you. I don't know if you just channeled in for my presentation, but welcome and thank you for listening to me. I hope I can keep your attention. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about primates in a specific region of Peru, where I've been working for the last 5 years. So first I want to tell you a little bit about who I am, what primatology really is. I'm going to go over the species that we have in the region of Las Piedras, and I will tell you more specifically about the black-faced black spider monkey. Ateles chamek is the species name. There are threats that they face and solutions since they're an endangered species here. And I will also shed a light a bit on my future plans. So, well, as has been said, my name is Liselot Lange. I'm 27 years old. I'm from the Netherlands. And since I was young, I always knew that I wanted to help animals. And whilst I was studying my high school, I thought I was going to work with cats and dogs. But as soon as I started a bachelor in wildlife management, in animal management, I knew I wanted to work with wildlife. So I did a major in wildlife management. During that major, I had a chance to travel to Suriname, which is a country in South America. And there I got into contact with primates in captivity and in primates in the wild as well. And I was kind of fascinated by them. And I actually wanted to do something to help conserve them in the wild. Both these pictures, I think, show that not necessarily monkeys are that happy behind bars, and especially also not maybe in someone's household as a pet. So I want to contribute to keeping primates wild and in the wild. So I returned to Europe and I did a master's degree in primate conservation in the UK, actually in England. With that degree, I can call myself a primatologist, and I've been working in this field since 2016 when I graduated that master's. So what is primatology specifically? Primatology is the study of primates, of the order of primates, which includes all sorts of monkeys and primates, whether it's a small mouse lemur in Africa or a tarsier in Southeast Asia, or spider monkeys in South America. But what we study about primates is either behavior, evolution, taxonomy, biology. It can be all sorts of things, diets. And as you can see in this photo, you see all of the species that we have, or genuses. I specifically focused on South American primates during my studies and during my work, and mostly on the spider monkeys, which is the Ateles family. So from the Netherlands, I kind of moved to South America and left my roots. And I've been working since 2016 in this specific region of southeastern Peru, which is the Las Piedras River. Within the circle, you can see the area that we focus on. In the little map on the left on the bottom, you can see that we have various concessions, forestry concessions that we are protecting, kind of creating a corridor. And when I say we're protecting that, it's with the organization I work for currently called Jungle Keepers. We have a ranger program where we work with Peruvian rangers that are actually currently in the field and protecting this corridor of wildlife of both flora and fauna. They go on daily patrols, they walk the concessions, and they make sure that there's no illegal logging or hunting occurring on these protected forestry concessions. I'm currently in Puerto Maldonado, which on the map is on the bottom corner on the right. That's a small, quickly growing jungle town, we call it. There's a lot of miners here. There's a lot of gold mining going on in this region of Peru. So it's a typical jungle town, but it's growing and developing quick. And with that, you can also see the development actually in this map, because if we see on the right side, you see a yellow road going up, which is the interoceanic highway. And there's a lot of deforestation always correlating with highways. And you can see that there's a lot of like empty patches there, which is all agricultural plots. So Puerto Maldonado, and with the highway coming through, has caused a lot of human development recently, which is the reason why we need to up our game a little bit in conserving as well some of the wildest places that are still left here. Within the Las Piedras River, we have multiple species of monkeys, so I'm going to just run by them one by one. So first of all, black-faced black spider monkey, which I'm going to go into more detail about as well in a little bit. Their common name here is maquisapa, and they're the endangered species that we find of monkeys in this region. They usually live high up in the canopy, and they have a highly fruitivorous diet, which means that they consume a lot of fruits. The next species that we have here is the Colombian red howler monkey, Alouatta seniculus. They're least concerned species at the moment. They are hunted a lot as well. They usually live in the high canopy levels as well, but they eat more leaves instead of fruits, so they don't directly compete with the spider monkeys because they live at the same forest level, but they have a different diet. This avoids conflict between the two. Then there's saki monkeys, very furry looking monkey, very strange looking monkey. I've only seen it a couple of times, maybe 10 times in total. They're very shy and they often flee up on sight. We call them mono wapo here. There's not much known about them, and actually the IUCN, the International Union for Conservation of Nature, they don't even have enough data to decide whether they're like a least concerned species or, you know, if they're vulnerable or if they're threatened. We don't really know. They mostly eat like nuts and harder fruits. They have special canines that help them crack those nuts open. This is a white-fronted capuchin. I'm just going to show you, it's a little video. It's one of the camera traps we had in one of our concessions. So it's a very cute monkey. Sees the camera and then decides, maybe not today. Hovels back. So this is a white-fronted capuchin. We actually have two species of capuchins within the Las Piedras region. We have this one, which is a slightly bigger one, and then we have this capuchin, which is the black-capped or large-headed capuchin. There's some confusion in the literature about which species it really is. The IUCN has them as Sapajus apella, and other papers or literature will refer to them as Sapajus macrocephalus. We here call them the black capuchins, usually in Spanish. They're a least concerned species, and both capuchin species roam usually between lower levels of the forest and middle levels of the forest, where they hunt for insects, where they hunt birds, lizards as well, and frogs, but they also eat a lot of fruits. So they're omnivore species. This is a tupid titi monkey. Titi monkeys are another species that are very shy. They're like medium-sized, and they're usually found in bamboo forest patches. They really like to eat the leaves of the bamboo forest. Quite hard to spot, but they have a very loud noise actually that usually in the mornings they will use to mark their territory. So they will sing in a group with the male leading and the females joining into the singing. And it's a very impressive sound, so definitely look it up if you have a chance to. We have night monkeys as well. So we usually don't see these ones during the day. This specific individual I photographed in a rescue center. That's why it's out in broad daylight. We call them musmukis here, quite hard to study. There is a primatologist here actually in the same region that is studying these guys at the moment, doing a PhD on them. But yeah, they're very cute looking. I love going out early mornings in the forest and try and find some because they're very interesting as well to find. They have such big eyes, of course, to help them see better, but they also have a better smell than most monkeys here to be able to find fruits, ripe fruits. The reason that they're active at night is again to avoid maybe competition with some of the other species that are also frugivorous. So whilst they are foraging at night, they won't have other monkeys trying to fight them because the other monkeys will just be sleeping. The next species that we have here is the squirrel monkey. Maybe all of you guys know this. It's a monkey from Pippi Longstocking as well. We've seen it in the movie. It's a least concern species. These guys actually travel in very large groups, sometimes up to 100 individuals. They're a small monkey. They eat mostly insects and a little bit of fruits. And sometimes they travel together with capuchins. The reason why they do that, we don't really know for sure, but there's several theories. And I think the most probable one is both for safety reasons. The more, the better. And if the capuchins are there, they have maybe a better protection against like predators such as harpy eagles, and vice versa, because those capuchins will also profit from the multiple eyes, like trying to scan for predators. And as well, because of foraging reasons, if you travel with more monkeys and heavier monkeys, like the capuchins might wake up the insects, which will start flying around, and then the squirrel monkeys will be able to catch them and eat those. Another monkey that we have here is the Ghoulies monkey. I've never had the pleasure to actually finding this one in the wild. Very hard to find, but it has been spotted within our concessions. It's a monkey that usually lives quite close to the ground. They mostly forage on fungi, so they actually look for the mushrooms. And of course, mushrooms mostly grow on decomposing wood, which is found near the forest floor. So they are quite near the floor usually. And I really do hope I get to see at least a glimpse of one day. Another species of smaller monkey is the Cellback Tamarin. They're very cute. They travel with like maybe 5 monkeys. They eat fruits and insects as well. And yeah, we have several species of smaller monkeys. So both the Ghoulies monkey that I just showed, this one, they're all in the same family. And including this one as well, the Emperor Tamarin, which has the really nice mustache. I have not seen this species in the wild either, yet there has been confirmed sightings of the species within our concessions. They're very pretty to look at, of course. And then the final species that we have confirmed, there might be even more species, but this is the last species that we have confirmation of, is the Pygmy Marmot. Actually, the photo of it in the tree, this one, was taken by one of our forest rangers from the Jungle Keepers organization that he took like a couple of months ago, and it's the first like record we actually have on photo. So that's amazing and very exciting news for all of us to have that species now confirmed in the region. So now I'm gonna switch a little bit to why protect spider monkeys and their habitat. We first will hear a little bit about their role in the ecosystem. As I said before, spider monkeys are highly frugivorous. They eat like a lot of fruits. So spider monkeys, as they are like the largest monkeys here actually, they also eat the largest fruits. And some of the examples are Ananasea, Aracea, Moracea, and Sapotacea. In this picture, it's a Sapotacea. You can see that the seed is almost 4 centimeters long. Spider monkeys can actually swallow these seeds whole, versus other monkeys will probably like chew on them and break those seeds whilst they're consuming them. The reason why spider monkeys are so special is that they don't actually break the seeds while they are consuming them, and that means that the seed will be carried in their stomachs for various kilometers before it gets pooed out and then can germinate with the feces. So the feces are actually natural fertilizer for the seed to grow. This means that spider monkeys are one of the main seed dispersal agents we have here in the Amazon, together with tapirs. Tapirs are also, and we heard talk about tapirs earlier, tapirs are also major seed dispersal agents. There's currently some studies being carried out here as well in the Amazon about differences in rainforest where spider monkeys have been hunted to extinction, and tapirs as well, so we don't have those large-bodied mammals anymore, versus forests where we still have these species, and there's a very clear difference in the spreading of those seeds. Where there's no spider monkeys and no tapirs, the seeds will usually just be scattered around the mother tree, but where we do have these animals, the seeds are spread over various kilometers, which of course keeps the forest a lot more healthy. Another reason why we need to protect spider monkeys from extinction is because they have a very slow reproduction and a very long lifespan. That means they grow slowly, right? They can't really reproduce quickly to recover populations that have been impacted by human development or human activity. Their age of fertility, so the age where they can be produced, is only at like 4 or 5 years old, where they will start having young. And usually they only have one young every 2 or 3 years. They nurse they have a gestation period of 8 months. So that's very similar to human. We of course carry our babies for 9 months in the stomach, in the bellies, in the womb. And spider monkeys do that for 8 months before the baby is born. And they nurture young for almost 3 years as well, with the first 1.5 year the baby traveling on the back, and slowly it will detach from the mom, but will stay with her up until the age of 3. This is the reason why they only have one young every 2 or 3 years, because they're still caring for the previous young. And then I don't know if anyone can take a wild guess of how old spider monkeys are. I know you guys can't interact with me, so I'm gonna just tell you, but I think I might surprise some people. But spider monkeys have reached up to 50 years in captivity. There's actually a monkey in the Apenhul, which is a zoo in the Netherlands, a primate specialized zoo, and it reached 50 years, which is an amazing age. And I don't think we can reach this age with spider monkeys in the wild, but they must reach like around 35 years of age in the wild. I'm going now towards the threats. So what is actually threatening spider monkeys? Well, one of the major causes of threats is deforestation for cattle ranching. As you might know, a lot of deforestation in the Amazon is caused by deforestation for the cattle ranching, where we as consumers buy a lot of beef from South America. So this is the small video, right, where you can actually see the cattle that needs a lot of hectares to be cleared for them to have enough grass to feed on. And in the picture on the right, you see that same field that's cleared for the cattle, but with one standing solitary Brazil nut tree. The Brazil nut tree is an endangered species, and it's a protected species by law, but you can't cut the Brazil nut tree, but you can cut all the ecosystem around it, which still means that the Brazil nut tree will most likely not survive and die off in a couple of years. This is completely legal, though. People can just deforest around the Brazil nut trees. So it's very important to protect these forests, and as well, not just the deforestation for cattle ranching, there's also deforestation for other agricultural purposes, and of course for the gold mining and human development. There's more roads coming into the forest, there's more villages, communities being built, which all contribute to the deforestation of these areas. And spider monkeys are highly sensitive to these human developments because they need the high canopy levels to travel. And they usually disappear quite quickly when there's human development in the area. The other threat is bushmeat and pet trade. I didn't want to include a picture of bushmeat because it's quite graphical to see, and it's not nice to have that on your brain, please, like memorized. This is a small spider monkey, a young in one of the communities along the Las Piedras River, and there's a lot of pet trade. So unfortunately, hunters usually hunt for adult females that carry a baby, and that gives them extra profit because they can sell the meat of the mom and they can sell the baby in the pet trade. Unfortunately, monkeys still form a large part here of rural diets, which is okay if it's sustainable hunting. We all understand that, but unfortunately, in recent years, it's not really sustainable hunting anymore, but now it's more commercial hunting. And especially with COVID, we saw a massive increase in hunting and illegal activities within the forest. So some of the solutions we have in order to help conservation of these beautiful monkeys is law enforcement. Unfortunately, Peru is quite a corrupt country. No offense, but it is, and I've seen it firsthand here. It's hard to get anything done. People that have pet monkeys, which is completely illegal as they're an endangered species, both by Peruvian law and international law, police will just look the other way, or you can bribe the police here as well. And the region where we work in Las Piedras, there's actually no governmental authority present. There's no forestry departments, there's no police stations, there's nothing. So it's kind of like the Wild West, I want to say, where you can just do whatever you want. There's no one that really cares unless someone puts in or reports it to the authorities. We should work with the government and try and fix this issue. So what we as jungle keepers try to do is maybe get more governmental presence within the area of Las Piedras, where we want to in the future build a control post and even have governmental rangers there, because right now we only have private rangers that work for our organization. We don't have any governmental rangers there present, which would really help with setting a presence for the region. Having said that, like one of the other major things we can do here is provide job opportunities. We do that currently by providing jobs for rangers, as position of ranger, but we also are planning to continue growing our projects, and we want to do reforestation projects where we would hire like local community members to help us reforest like deforested areas. We also want to help them with their agricultural projects. There's a lot of local communities that have their farms, but they're not really using them sustainably. So giving them advice on how can they grow their crops more sustainable and how can they contribute to conservation, and maybe do some reforestation in parts of their farm so that they help conservation in general. Some of the monkeys that come into the pet trade are lucky enough to make it back into the wild through rehabilitation and reintroduction programs. So we have a reintroduction program in the Madre de Dios area of Peru, which is run by the Rescue Center Taricaya. That's where I took this picture. You can see the mother has actually a collar on, a GPS collar, which we track them after reintroduction. So some of the monkeys that we can get out of the illegal pet trade can potentially be reintroduced back into the wild, which of course helps contributing to population, maintaining populations. What I want to say is, yeah, we can't save all of the individuals, of course, in the illegal trade, and not all of them can be reintroduced, but there's a large proportion of individuals that we have been able to bring to the rescue center and that have been successfully reintroduced. These spider monkeys are being reintroduced in an area where they've actually been hunted to extinction. So it's bringing them back to an area where they actually have been exploited in the past. Hopefully it will have a positive effect on that forest they're surrounding, because it's been without spider monkeys for many years. And the last one I have here is environmental education. So I think education is always really important. Like, we have to educate the youth, the local youth as well. And this is a project that I've been working on for a couple of years now. I made a children's coloring book in cooperation with many people, but it's actually like being distributed right now through communities. So this has been a cooperation between local NGOs here in Puerto Maldonado. It's been by individuals, like Alison Stoiser is a good friend of mine who helped me with drawing it. I wrote the story with another friend of mine, and then there's a lot of other contributors. And currently, I'm actually leaving on this Tuesday to distribute this to 3 communities along the Las Piedras River, which will be the first time this booklet is being distributed along the Las Piedras River. And I can do that because I'm getting financial aid from the organization ACER. I'm a conservation fellow of them this year. They gave me a grant to actually be able to bring this booklet to those communities. So I'm very grateful to that as well. Other future plans that I have personally is to continue help conservation of habitats, which I do through Jungle Keepers. Like, I work for them as head of operations. I'm not currently based in the field as much. I used to be. I used to actually study the spider monkeys in the field for 3 years. I was living in the forest, in the Amazon rainforest. Currently, I work from the town of Puerto Maldonado, but I help this great NGO, Jungle Keepers, with conserving of habitat, that map that I showed earlier with all those forest concessions. So I want to continue this. I want to help protect more area, more land, because by doing so, we conserve the habitat where those spider monkeys can live, right? I do want to go back to scientific research and like actually studying the monkeys in the wild. Specifically, I would love to create a project with this albino spider monkey that you can see on these pictures. It is the first albino spider monkey that has been registered for this species. It lives along the Las Piedras River as well, in an area called Soledad. And I would love to be able to study her intergroup relationships. Like, do they accept her? Do they actually see her as a female? Like, would they reproduce with her, or is she seen like as a different species? How is predator avoidance for her? I think she would be more easily picked out by predators. There's so much we can study. Also, her health. Like, does it have the same health issues maybe a human with albinism would have? So there's a lot of opportunity there. I'm really excited to be able to work on that more. But currently, what I said, I'm doing more on environmental education, and specifically right now, I'll be traveling to the Las Piedras and try and help protect these monkeys, the spider monkeys. So I think that's it for me. I want to thank you all for your attention. I'm sure there might be some questions. I think I went over that quite quickly. Here's some contact details for me if anyone wants to write to me or reach out. My email and Instagram for both me and for Jungle Keeper, so the NGO with who I work. I think that's it. Oh, yeah, and then if there's any questions.
Well, thank you for such a great presentation and helping us get to know the varied species of spider monkeys that call Peru home. I have a quick question. How is it that there are so many different species of spider monkeys? What about Peru makes it such a hotspot for these primates?
So the monkeys that I showed, not all of them were spider monkeys, right? So just the big black one, the first one I showed, and then the others are just other monkey species that we have in the area. But we are located in like very near to a biodiversity hotspot called Alta Purus, and it's like where the Andes goes into the rainforest section, and there's so much abundance of wildlife, and this specific region, the Las Piedras, is very intact still. It has a lot of intact forests. If we compare it with different regions in Peru, there has been a lot more human development and a lot more agricultural activities, which have meant that a lot of the wildlife has kind of disappeared. So as I said, in some of the regions, there's actually spider monkeys are hunted to extinction, but in Las Piedras we see these megafauna. We still see the spider monkeys, we see the tapirs, we have those species still because it's quite intact, but it's under a massive threat by illegal activities and no governmental presence. Yeah.
Well, it's good to hear that there are places that are still, being able to support biodiversity and good-sized populations. So that I'm sure is encouraging. If we are ever to be in Peru and be in an urban area or not an urban area, what should we think about when we see these monkeys or any of the primates in the trees around us?
Yeah, take pictures. When you have the chance to visit Puerto Maldonado and like this region of the Madre de Dios department of Peru, like you will see that there's abundance of wildlife, but the most common species here are the howler monkey, the capuchins, and the squirrel monkeys. I think that's the species that most people will see. If you want to see spider monkeys, you might have to travel a little bit further into pristine rainforest to be able to find them. And if you see them, like, enjoy the moment. We don't interact with the monkeys in the wild, like never feed a monkey, like don't do that, because you're gonna like be able to transmit diseases. You will make them be very used to human. We get biting incidents, like it's a no-go for primatologists and like researchers in general to try and feed the monkeys. Like that's a no-go for us. But yeah, just really enjoy and appreciate the moment. When I studied these spider monkeys for 3 years, like they came really close to me, but still always had like some 3-5 meter distance from me. Yeah. Amazing though.
That's good advice to remind everyone, if you are traveling and you see any primates, keep your distance, observe them, but try not to interact, and definitely don't feed them because of all those reasons that you said. So thank you for that advice as we are, traveling and potentially in the near future and see any primates. It's a good way to not interact with them. So Liselot, thank you very much for presenting today and being part of the Global Biodiversity Festival. And
thank you for the opportunity.
Primates of Peru. So thank you for that.
Thank you.